Hey everyone! Today we're going to dive into something I think we can all relate to. Why sometimes we just don't speak our minds even when we feel really strongly about something. It's a fascinating psychological idea, so let's get right into it. You know that feeling, right? You're in a meeting or maybe just hanging out with friends and you realize, wait a minute, I think I'm the only one who sees it this way. So you just kind of keep it to yourself. Well, it turns out there's actually a name for that exact feeling. Yep. It's called the spiral of silence theory. And the whole idea is pretty simple, really. It's all about how our willingness to say what we think depends on how popular we believe that opinion is. All right, so let's unpack this. To really get what this theory is all about, we've got to go back to where it all started. So the whole idea actually came out of post-war Germany. A political scientist named Elisabeth Noelle-Neumann noticed something really weird during the elections in 65 and 72. Right before the vote, a bunch of people would suddenly swing their support to whichever party seemed like it was going to win. It was like a bandwagon effect on steroids. So in 1974, she gave it a name, the spiral of silence. And believe me, this theory is just as relevant today for understanding everything from politics to what's trending online. Okay, so this image here really breaks it down. Imagine one opinion starts to get more and more popular. Well, as that happens, the opposing view gets pushed to the sidelines. It creates this, well, a spiral, right? The minority voice just gets quieter and quieter until you barely hear it at all in the public conversation. So how does this actually happen? It's basically a four-step process. Step one, we're all constantly, almost unconsciously, reading the room to figure out what everyone else thinks. Step two, if we think our opinion is the popular one, hey, we're more likely to speak up. Step three, but if we feel like we're in the minority, we tend to clam up. And here's the kicker. Step four, our silence makes the majority opinion seem even stronger than it actually is, which makes even more people stay quiet. And boom, you've got a spiral. So, what's really going on here? What's the deep down psychological reason for all this? Right, what's the engine behind this thing? Why are we so tuned in to what the majority thinks anyway? It really boils down to one single powerful thing, the fear of being left out, the fear of social isolation. I mean, we're social animals, right? The idea of being rejected by our tribe, our group, that's terrifying on a deep primal level. And Noelle-Neumann said that fear is the engine that drives the whole spiral of silence. She had a cool name for it, too. She called it our quasi-statistical organ. Now, it's not a real organ, of course. It's more like this built-in social antenna we all have. It's constantly scanning, almost unconsciously, telling us, hey, this opinion is safe, or, whoa, careful, that one could get you kicked out of the group. And this isn't just a theory, you can see it in action. Think about the classic Asch conformity experiments from the 50s. People were shown a line and then asked to match it to one of three other lines. Super easy, right? But here's the twist. Everyone else in the room was an actor told to pick the obviously wrong line. And what happened? A shocking number of people just went along with the group's wrong answer just to avoid sticking out. Okay, so that's the fear of isolation. But that theory is decades old. What happens when you throw our modern world into the mix? What about social media? Yeah, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Does the internet break the spiral, or does it just create new ones that spin way, way faster? Does it free us up to speak, or does it scare us into silence? Turns out, the answer is kinda both. It's a total paradox. On the one hand, you've got the argument that the internet frees our speech. You could be anonymous, you can find your niche, your people, no matter how obscure your interests are. But then there's the other side of the coin, right? The idea that the internet chills speech. We've all seen it, the pylons, the public shaming. That fear of the online mob can absolutely cause people to self-censor or just not post at all. And just to make things even more complicated, now we have to deal with social bots. We're talking about automated accounts that can make an idea or an opinion look way more popular than it actually is. They create this fake consensus which can totally kickstart a real spiral of silence. And this is not some sci-fi movie plot. It's real. Studies have shown that bots played a big part in manipulating online discussions during things like the 2016 US presidential election and the 2017 French presidential election. They were actively trying to warp that climate of opinion we were talking about. So yeah, that all sounds pretty intense. But here's the thing. The spiral isn't inevitable. It's not some unbreakable law of physics. There are always people who push back. Because the truth is, not everybody stays quiet, and that's a good thing.
I mean, pretty much all social change throughout history has happened because someone was willing to say the unpopular thing and challenge how things were.
The theory actually has names for these people. They're called the vocal minority, and they come in two main flavors. First, you've got the hardcore. These are the nonconformists who've kind of already been pushed out of the mainstream, so they have nothing left to lose by speaking their minds. And then you have the avant-garde, the artists, the reformers, the innovators who are so convinced they're ahead of the curve that they don't care if they stand alone. These are the people who can stop a spiral in its tracks.
And all this really brings it back around to us, to you and me. So when that spiral starts spinning, and you can feel that pressure to just go along with the crowd, where are you going to stand? Are you going to stay quiet, or are you going to be one of the ones who speaks up? It's a tough question, but honestly, the health of our public conversations might just depend on it.